Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. So in today's video, we are going to be having a Q&A session. If you guys want to have your questions answered in a YouTube video like this, just go on the Discord. There is going to be a Discord link right below this video. Just click on it to accept the invite, and then from there, there's going to be a Ask Kevin tab where you get to put your own questions and you have a chance on having your question answered. So for today's video, we are going to be answering 5 different questions. A lot of it is going to be revolving around Fermin Lopez. We're also going to be talking about player transfers, Alejandro Balde, and much more. So let's start with the first question. And we do have one coming from, I'm gonna just say Keto or something like that. Like here in America, that's probably how we would pronounce it. I know I'm saying that incorrectly. I'm sorry, bro. But yeah, we have a question coming from this account here. And he has asked, what transfers do you think Barcelona should make and what departures do you think they should make? How should Barcelona approach the transfer window in your opinion? So first things first, because Barcelona is in a good moment where, you know, they're trashing teams left and right, every player has been showcasing why they should stay at Barcelona. I don't want to necessarily bring out the negativity and say that this player should leave and that player should leave and this player should be replaced with this player. But if I were to give my best bet on who I believe should leave Barcelona in the summer, it's going to be revolving around 4 different players. Now keep in mind, I could be completely wrong. Who knows what could happen in the summer? Who knows if Joan Laporta even needs to sell some players to bring in brand new ones? But this is going to be my best bet because the central attacking midfield position is so congested with so many players, with Gavi, Olmo, Pedri can also play in those positions sometimes, Rafinha as well, even Fermin Lopez. The one player that I do see leaving, it is Pablo Torre. I know that Pablo has been very efficient for Barcelona this season so far, but we have to sell somebody, right? Pablo Torre could be sold for around 10 million euros. At the moment, his value is skyrocketing because of how efficient he has been under Hansi Flick, and I believe that that will be a correct time to sell Pablo Torre, which will be in this summer with 1 year left in his contract. 10 million euros, I would take it. The next player that I would sell would be Pau Victor. Once again, I know that Pau Victor has also been very efficient scoring goals, but because of Ferran Torres' rise and Lewandowski's consistency, I don't see any real changes happening in the number 9 position. Of course, maybe in about 2 years, Barcelona might look for the replacement of Lewandowski, but because Lewandowski has not slowed down whatsoever and he's having one of the best seasons of his life, he is here to stay for 1 more season, and Ferran Torres also looks very deadly. So I would sell Pau Victor for around 8 million euros after he came to Barcelona 2.5 years ago for 300k. So it is a very good flip. The next player that I would sell would be Andreas Christensen. Keep in mind that Andreas Christensen is going to be coming back very soon. He actually did train with the group earlier today, but because we are so fulfilled at the back with Araujo, Inigo Martinez, Kubarsi, Jules Koundé can also play in those positions. There's also reports about Jonathan Tah moving to FC Barcelona in the summer. Christensen should be a player that we should sell. I know that Christensen can also play in the CDM position, but Eric Garcia is being used there and he's playing there phenomenally. We also have Marc Bernal, Marc Asado. Pedri also plays in one of those 2 positions, and so to me, Christensen is going to have to be on his way out. We brought him in for free back in the summer of 2022, and I believe that a good sell point for the player would be 20 million euros. Keep in mind that Christensen at one point at Barcelona was worth around 50 million euros, but because he has not played, because he has been injured over and over again this season, his value did decrease, unfortunately. So I would say that 20 million euros is justifiable. And the last player that I would sell is Ansu Fati. I know that there are so many Ansu Fati fans. I know everybody wants to see Ansu Fati succeed, but this summer is for sure going to be a time for Barcelona to reinforce the left wing position, and we cannot reinforce our left wing position with Ansu Fati on the squad. I'm telling you guys, like when it's not Rafinha, we don't have another left winger. Look at what Hansi Flick has been doing in the past 2 matches. Gavi has been playing on the left wing position, and he's not even a left winger. We do need a backup one. Most likely Barcelona is going to go for either Nico Williams or Leao, but in order for that to happen, we have to sell somebody. Ansu Fati back in 2020 was worth 80 million euros. Can you guys believe that? But I think that going into this summer, because Ansu Fati has not been playing, he has not showcased why he is good enough for FC Barcelona. At the very most, Ansu Fati can be sold at around 8 million to 10 million euros. Again, 4 to 5 years ago, Ansu Fati was worth 80 million euros. That is how bad things have gotten for him. But what else could you expect for Barcelona to do when Ansu Fati cannot even help himself? So in total, Barcelona can generate around 48 million euros from these 4 players, which is really not that bad. It's going to help us fund the operation of either Nico Williams or maybe Rafael Leao, and potentially even a right back like Vanderson. Moving on towards the next question coming from Mango Boy, and he has asked, what are your thoughts on Mats, aka Ter Stegen, making an early recovery, and what could this mean for our treble charge? He is inconsistent in front of the net, mainly in Europe, and I personally don't agree with him replacing Szczesny. And so yes, it's true that Ter Stegen is returning very soon. Like we'll see him available and training with the group consistently within these next couple of days. Hansi Flick Flick also stated, Ter Stegen has also trained with the group today. When he improves, we'll see what happens. Now we have to focus on today and tomorrow. Ter Stegen also stated himself that physically, I feel at my best. I haven't set a specific return date, but I'm prepared to prove the coach that I am ready. Now here's what gets very tricky. In order for us to use Ter Stegen, let's say that he is available for a Champions League match. In order for us to use him, we have to sit down Szczęsny, because according to the UEFA rules, Barcelona can only register Ter Stegen back in the Champions League if they do deregister the player who initially replaced him, which is Szczęsny in this case, but a player that Hansi Flick does trust. And so listen, I know this does seem like the end of the world for us Barcelona fans to know that Ter Stegen might come back and ruin things. First things first, I don't think Ter Stegen is as bad as many of us do paint him on social media. Ter Stegen, before he got injured, was doing amazing. And I believe that when Ter Stegen does come back, he's going to want to prove a point. Point number two, even if Ter Stegen is available, I just don't think that Szczęsny is going to be sitting out because of Ter Stegen's emergence. It's really not that easy. Like, if you really think that Ter Stegen's just going to come back from an ACL injury and just replace Szczęsny just like that after like a couple of days, that is not going to happen. I can assure you guys that Szczęsny will be our #1 goalkeeper for the rest of this season, no matter if Ter Stegen is available or not. Hansi Flick is not that type of coach. Hansi Flick is very strict on how these players do perform, and you have to be at a very high level. He gave Araujo a very tough time to come back to the defense. He gave Frankie a very tough time to get back into the midfield. Gavi, the same thing. If you are a good player at Barcelona, you're just coming back from injury, it's not easy to get through Hansi Flick. And you really think that Ter Stegen is going to prove his point in the next couple of days and start over Szczęsny in the last 2 months of the season? There is no way. Barcelona are going through very important games, and it's just not going to happen like that. It is not possible nor feasible. Forget it. Szczęsny is our #1 goalkeeper. Now going into the next season, we'll see. But that is a whole other different conversation. We're only focused about what happens in these next 2 months. That is why Hansi Flick even stated, now we have to focus on today and tomorrow. We'll see what happens. Hansi Flick is not worried about replacing Ter Stegen with Szczęsny tomorrow. It's just not going to happen. The best Ter Stegen could get for this season is to not play the Champions League matches and then be available for some league matches once Barcelona do have the league title to themselves and they win it. That is the best case scenario for Ter Stegen. Like, if Barcelona win La Liga 3 matches before the league does end, then Ter Stegen will play in those matches. Now moving on towards the next question coming from Joan Laporta, and he has stated, what did you make of Alejandro Balde as a winger? I have read that he started his career on the wing, and I'm interested to know if you think Flick can develop him into that kind of role. So yes, it's true that Alejandro Balde did play as a left winger before throughout his youth career, but just because he took on those positions, it does not mean that eventually in the first team he's going to be taking on the left wing position again. Just like with Ansu Fati. Ansu Fati was a pure striker back in his youth years, but just because he played in that position a few years ago, it does not mean that he's going to be playing as a striker again in the first team. It's totally different once you do get into first team football, and you have to see how do you adapt to first team football and where are you best at, because sometimes your roles do change. And for Alejandro Balde, even though I know that he will become a great left winger if he were to be placed there by Hansi, Alejandro Balde is much better as a left back. Yes, Balde has standout attributes like speed, dribbling, and ability to stretch the defense that aligns well with the demands of a winger position. But I really don't believe Hansi Flick is interested in developing him into a left winger after he has taken so much time to make Alejandro Balde one of the best left backs in the world. And I think that Balde is enjoying himself. He is more of a player that I would trust to get out from the back than somebody to finish an attacking play in the final third. Alejandro Balde is way too good to be limited like that, because Balde can do both. He can finish off well in the final third and also play out from the back and defeat any presses that do go up against him. And I think that if Hansi Flick was truly interested in developing Balde into a left winger, we would have already seen it by now. Hansi Flick has been experimenting with so many players this season in terms of positions that once again we could have seen it by now. He has tested Eric Garcia as a CDM and it worked. He has tested Gavi as a left winger and it's working. He has tested Pedri as a hybrid 6 and 8 and it's working. He does a lot of tests and he is not afraid. He could have done the Balde left wing position, but he has not done it. I don't think that he is interested. Only in a case where there's like an injury crisis and we see like 3 players in the attack injured, then yes, maybe there is that possibility of Balde going up to the left wing position. So I really don't think it's going to happen. Moving on towards the next question coming from Chespi, and he has stated, I'm not saying you hate Fermin, but you definitely don't buy hyping him up like Frankie de Jong, Pedri, and Gavi. Why he hustles just as much as Gavi and Rafinha, and he's a La Masia player. What about him is it that you don't find fond of? So look, I don't hate Fermin Lopez, nor do I think that Fermin Lopez is like a trash player. I never stated that. The only reason why I have not talked about Fermin Lopez compared to other players like Frankie, Pedri, and Gavi is because the situations of Frankie, Pedri, and Gavi has been much more intense because Frankie became a player that was not wanted at Barcelona, nor could he find a position at Barcelona, and is now in talks to extending his time at Barcelona and becoming a true starter in this team. The same thing with Pedri. Pedri's story has been amazing, from a number 10 or a pure 8 to now being a 6 and becoming the best midfielder in the world. These things have to be talked about. With Gavi, he's coming from an ACL injury, and we want to see how he is adapting to Hansi Flick's system. So like the story and the rise of these players has been a lot, hence the reason why we had to talk about it. With Fermin Lopez, we know his story. Like, his story has not changed. He has been consistent from last season, and he's doing the exact same thing this season. Not much of a rise because he has been too consistent. He has been an 8 out of 10 last season, and yet again an 8 out of 10 this season. So what Fermin Lopez has been doing at Barcelona this season, it has not surprised me because I know how good Fermin Lopez is. But since we are talking about Fermin Lopez, let's give him his flowers. Fermin Lopez and Lamine Yamal has been included in the La Liga team of the week, which is very impressive. And the reason why Fermin Lopez has been included in the team of the week for the league is because he yet again provided an assist against Girona. He also provided an assist against Osasuna. So he has been very inconsistent, and because of these 2 assists that he has had in the past 2 league matches, Fermin Lopez this season for Barcelona has 5 goals and 7 assists, meaning that for the year of 2025, Fermin Lopez has been directly involved in 7 La Liga goals for Barcelona. Apart from Lewandowski and Mbappe, no one has done better in this period. This also does mean that Fermin Lopez has been directly involved in a goal every 104 minutes. At 21 years of age, his intelligence and his work ethic is phenomenal for a midfielder. He's a fantastic, impactful player for Barcelona. In any other club besides Barcelona, he would be a starter. I know that at Barcelona under Hansi, he is a rotational player who comes on and off the pitch, but just because he is given that role, it does not mean that Fermin Lopez should be leaving this club. Fermin Lopez should have continuity. He is good enough, and so far, one of his best games that he has had has been against Valencia in this season, where he scored 2 goals and provided 2 assists. So I want to see more of Fermin. You can just tell though that Hansi Flick does not really want to use Fermin in those big matches. Like, for example, we had a Champions League match against Benfica where Barcelona won 3-1. Fermin Lopez was only used for 8 minutes. In the match against Atletico Madrid where we won 4-2, Fermin Lopez did not even play. But then in the matches against Osasuna or Girona, that is where Fermin Lopez started playing. You can tell where Hansi Flick wants to place him. And when Fermin Lopez gets those chances, he always ends up delivering. In the match against Girona recently, he created the most chances, which was a total of 4. He also completed the most dribbles, which was a total of 3. And against Osasuna, he had the most tackles, which was a total of 3, and provided 1 assist. Here is one thing I would say though. Part of me does feel like Fermin Lopez might be in the market in the summer. That is the only thing that does scare me. And let me tell you, yes, it does scare me because I want Fermin at this club. But the reason why I believe that Fermin Lopez is going to be called by some clubs is because Fermin is just too good to be a rotational player. And he is a player who brings a lot of heart to the game. And one of the clubs that I believe will come calling for Fermin, and this is going to be my own speculation and theory, I could be right, I could be wrong, but I believe that one of the clubs that will be going for Fermin in the summer, and I want you guys to clip this because I really do think that there's an 80% chance that it will happen, but I really do think that Atletico Madrid are going to give it their all to bring in Fermin Lopez. Like, I'm talking about Atletico Madrid are going to want to give out a huge bid for the player of around 65 million euros because Fermin Lopez does match what Atletico Madrid is. Yes, it's going to be one hell of a signing for Atletico Madrid, but it makes total sense. And we do not even know how Barcelona might maneuver through the summer. Who knows if Javier Tebas says like, oh no, you cannot spend too much, you have to sell even more players and you're still restricted to do this, so sell Fermin to Atletico Madrid because I want my Madrid teams to be winning and not Barcelona, etc. But honestly guys, like, do you guys not really like see that? Like, I really do see Fermin Lopez as a player who could be eyed by Atletico Madrid in the summer. And I think that if Atletico want to do that and want to give us 65 million euros, I would say, okay, scratch that, do not give us 65, actually give us Julian Alvarez for Fermin Lopez. Can you imagine that type of swap deal? But overall, that is my concern. I really do think that Fermin Lopez is going to be bidded on in the summer, even though if Barcelona have no intentions of selling the player. So now moving on towards the last question coming from Lord Bean, and it's still going to be about Fermin Lopez. He has asked, Gavi or Fermin as the number 10 against Atletico Madrid? And for me, it's very easy. Fermin Lopez has been the one that has proved his point over the past 2 matches. He has been the most consistent. He knows how to be decisive. He finds Lewandowski over and over again. One of the most underrated duos right now at Barcelona, it is between Fermin Lopez and Lewandowski. They really do understand each other. And I do think that a starting 11 of Fermin, Lamine Yamal, Rafinha, and Lewandowski, with Pedri and Frankie in the midfield, and with the back of Alejandro Balde, Cubarsí, Nico Martinez, and Jules Koundé, would be the most ideal 11 against Atletico Madrid that can deliver us a big win and send us to the next round of the Copa del Rey. So yeah, for now, I would just say Fermin Lopez in the number 10 position. It's not like Gavi has a say in the number 10 position because Hansi Flick does not see Gavi Gavi as a number 10. We have seen Gavi being used as a 6 and also as a left winger. And this is not me saying it, right? This is me like looking at what Gavi has been doing on the pitch, what roles he has been taking, and what Hansi Flick has said. He said that he sees Gavi as a number 6 more than anything else. So to me, it is Fermin. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.